This is quite the show. I saw it when it happened. I was actually invited to the dress rehearsal. They said if you could come on, I couldn't go. And boy, did that turn out to be momentous, I guess, in this, Alex. And you shot the dress rehearsal, obviously, and one of the leads broke his foot or something during that. It was an extraordinary thing to go through. And this shows the brilliance of this, of pulling this off in live television, even with that kind of drawback that happened. So, Alex, why don't you talk about the heart attack you had at that moment?
Expect the unexpected, I think, is the mantra for all these live shows. I think however much you prep, and we do an awful lot of prep, it's always the things that you kind of perhaps don't think of that throw you slightly sideways. But we do precisely do a full dress rehearsal to tape as live, and the entire team and the cast treat it as a full-on live broadcast, and that puts us in incredibly good stead. And that's what everyone saw at home, and other than the final act, which was truly live, and then we managed to spend a day re-choreographing so that Brennan could be in it.
Well, Adam, but you keep coming back and doing them, and with Mark Platt and everything. I mean, and it's a great form. It's a return to what television was in the 50s and 60s, that kind of live musical.
It's the live TV musical is a throwback and a leap forward, right? It's how the medium began, and it shows the future of where it can go. But Rent is particularly special because as much as I love Grease, it's not Grease. It's not frivolous. You know, we stood on the coffee tables in the American homes and said, faggots, lesbies, dykes, cross-dressers too. You know, we took a show that was part of the avant-garde and got a chance to do it in the mainstream. And as you said, you know, I don't like when people talk about it as a dress rehearsal. What we tell our cast is that this is opening night. We have opening night and we have closing night. And what America got to see was opening night. And it was thrilling. And if you talk to the audience that was there, and it's not just the actors who rehearsed for all that time. There's 16 cameras, each with a crew of 4 people. There are lighting technicians and prop technicians and special effects, everyone having to hit their stuff precisely on the mark. And if you miss it by an inch, it looks like a mile. That's the without a netness of live TV, and that's what everybody saw at home, coupled with the social justice and relevance of Rent. I'm so proud to have been a part of this, and I thank Fox for letting us do it.
Well, I have to say, your song "Over the Moon" that you did in this was extraordinary.
Thank
you. Rent fans out there.
It makes me like my palms sweat just thinking about doing it.
Does it? I mean,
yeah.
But it must be exciting. I mean, like I said, you were obviously in Grease Live. You know, secret to musicals on television, High School Musical, and everything else. What made this one particularly special for you?
Well, I think it is very rare that in the middle of a massive musical, do you have to stand on the stage and do a performance piece as a performance artist with a story that you're telling that is very abstract and very left of center, and being completely confident in it. And luckily for me, I grew up as a performer. I love being on the stage. I'm not gonna lie, I love being the center of attention. So it was really nice to have that moment and to be completely supported by my cast and my director, and just feel like I am here for a reason and I'm going to tell this story no matter how ridiculous it may be.
Wow. And Brandon, you know, I just did a couple of your credits. Of course, you've done so much stage work, Tony nominee, Color Purple, other shows and things. And to have the opportunity to do Rent on in a forum like this, after you had done Jesus Christ Superstar, must have been really special, I imagine.
It definitely was, and mostly for a lot of the reasons that Adam mentioned. You know, I have a great affinity for Rent. It's one of the first Broadway shows I ever saw. It's the first one I ever auditioned for. But, you know, to be able to take this incredible story, which is about a group of human beings and a community in New York that drove and supported the art scene but was not able to really be on the main stage in the fullness of themselves, but then got that opportunity when Rent came around, and now here we are, you know, decades later, and to be able to put these stories and these human beings, and to put you know, their journeys and their experience with life in living rooms in mainstream America across the country, that was a great privilege. And building a show like this with this team of people, it's an incredible creative endeavor. It's the kind of thing you want to get involved in.
Jonathan Larson, very famous, everybody knows the story, died just before Rent went into its first performance, I think, right? And then, of course, went on to be this huge Broadway hit, became a feature film, and now a major live television event. Tell us what you're feeling when you went into this production and knowing all of that?
Well, it's been quite a journey that we certainly didn't expect. We were there to be my brother's cheerleaders, and so, you know, Rent, when it opened, was really the beginning. You know, they weren't finished, and John had big plans and big dreams to do more with it, if he was lucky enough to get past the 6 weeks off Broadway. So we've tried over the years. It's always very complicated emotionally for my family, and we try to be very deliberate in kind of the things that we choose to do to move it forward. And it's now been an entire generation since it opened, so there's a whole new young generation, and it's still relevant.